Hey everyone, a few weeks ago I had an online Facebook launch party. And it went really well. And so some of you were asking if I would post some sort of document to outline exactly what I did and why it was successful. So I've done my best to kind of do an outline here for you on paper that I wanted to share with you guys. Um, I think this will vary depending on the person in the situation, but just this is a guideline. So you can use it whatever way you want to. And I'm going to be reading from a paper, so if I look away, it's because I'm reading a script that I made. All right, the first thing is if you're going to do an online launch party like I did, you would want to go to Facebook and create an event. You could also do this if you're doing an event that takes place in person, but some of the aspects might change just a little bit. So create your event online, come up with your date in your time, and also think about in the meantime, like what order do you want to present your products? You want to be organized in your online party because just like in a Facebook group, the most recent thing that you post will be the thing that comes to the top. So the post that you just put up there, if you're going to put another one up in just a second, it's going to fall to the bottom. So it becomes really kind of confusing for people to follow along with what you want to say. So definitely make an outline. Make this a master outline so that you know what you're doing. When I did my online launch party, I didn't know a lot about Plexus or the products. I had really very little information about what I needed to write about or actually talk about. So an outline was very helpful for me. Doing the online party was also a source of education for me because it forced me to have to learn about the products. It forced me to have to engage in that learning to commit the information that I needed to know to my long term memory. So I would actually encourage you to do this. And this will also come in handy if you are doing parties in someone's home. Um, so think about what products you want to feature and then put them in an outline. And organize it well. Like, think of the key points that you want to highlight so that you know exactly what you want to say. Like, what are the key points that you want to hit on? And then that'll serve as sort of, a guideline to just sort of tell you like where you want to go when you are writing your posts or shooting your videos, which I'll talk about in a minute. The next thing you want to do after you create your event is personally invite the people that you're planning on sending an invite to. So don't just, click invite and click all your friends on your friend list. Don't do that because it's very impersonal. It doesn't seem sincere. And if you are in the business of relationship marketing, which is, a term that I'm starting to learn more about, you want to be sincere. You want to be engaging and you want to really draw your crowd to the things that mean something to them. Make it sentimental, make it meaningful. So send an email to those people, let them know what you're doing, let them know that you've invited them to an event and that you'd really like it if they would support you. Something like that, but make it personal or give them a call. That's even better. Or see them in person. That's even better. So make it personal, make it seem really good. Um, and the other beautiful thing about sending an email or calling someone on the phone or seeing them in person is that you can also encourage them to support you by inviting other people. Or you can leave out the whole thing about supporting you and just ask them, who do you know that has chronic pain, who might be struggling with weight loss? And that's another key thing about marketing. I used to be a telemarketer. So one thing is never say, do you know anyone who has chronic pain? Because that's a closed-ended question. What's their answer going to be? No. Now, we all know someone with chronic pain, I'm sure. So it's who do you know that has chronic pain? And it's a little bit more difficult for those people to say, I don't know. Most people are going to be able to whip out a few names, and that will be very useful to you. Once they do come out with those names, then you can say to that person, well, please consider inviting Joe Schmo because I think he could really benefit from these products. So that's another important thing. Okay, another point that I want to make is what I did was, it was kind of funny, the week that I decided to do my online launch party, I had a lot of 31 consultants and Sensi consultants posting how they were doing an online party. And I was like, well, I thought I was the only one that ever thought of doing an online party. Well, it was a newsflash. I wasn't the only one that had ever thought of doing an online party. Lots of people do online parties, but lots of people during their online parties, they post photos or they just write out statuses like, for Mother's Day, we have these wonderful margarita glasses, and it's just text, or it's a picture of the margarita glass if you're lucky. But that's not very engaging, that's very impersonal. So I shot videos just like I'm doing with this with my webcam because I don't have a tripod for my regular camera. And I do understand that the quality of the video would be better, but this worked fine. So I just whipped out my little MacBook and used my webcam. And what I did was I shot videos in order from the outline that I did. But the first thing that I did was my testimony. Now, that's important because one thing that I've already learned is people are not going to generally be first interested in your product without seeing for themselves how it works. You know that whole thing about seeing is believing? This is why you want to share your testimony. People care about what's happening to you, especially if you are inviting people that know you. So if you're losing weight and you're bigger like I am right now, people are watching you. So that's why it's also important to be a product of the product. Now, I planned my launch video for about 3 weeks after I became a Plexus ambassador. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to have some success on the product before I just went ahead and did a party. Because I don't want to be, 500 pounds overweight trying to tell everybody about this great product for weight loss if I haven't lost anything. Now, in retrospect, I could have still pulled that off by I'm so excited about this product. But it did work for me to have the testimony. That was beneficial. So that is something that I would recommend if you've been in it for a while but you haven't really done a launch party, or if you're just ready to do another one. But if you have not been an ambassador long, you can do a launch party just based on the excitement. Another little tidbit is when you post each of your segments, when you record each of your segments, like for example, I started off with a segment about Plexus Slim and then Plexus Accelerator. And I don't remember what the next order was. I think it was BioCleanse and then ProBio 5. But anyway, when you do each of those video clips, do a short testimony, not from somebody else that you don't know unless they are close to you, like if they're your family member or something. So, for example, when I started talking about BioCleanse, I had only been on it for a week. And so I didn't really have a lot of experience, but I kind of made a joke about the fact of how, you're in the bathroom a lot because it does help you go to the bathroom. And I think that made some people laugh. And to my surprise, most of the people who want to lose weight are going to probably tell you that they're not going to the bathroom regularly. And even if they don't have weight to lose, it's kind of shocking to me how many people's bathroom habits I've learned about and how many people just aren't pooping. So everybody needs BioCleanse. We live in a toxic world, but, don't be like, I run to the bathroom 3 times a day, because probably nobody really wants to hear exactly how many times you go to the bathroom or what the consistency is and how it smells. That's a little too detailed and kind of yucky. And also, it's not a good sales pitch. But do talk about how it has helped you become regular. Do talk about how, maybe you have more energy, maybe your stomach doesn't hurt as much, or whatever your testimony is, share that with them. When I talked about ProBio 5, I talked about my personal testimony with our son, whose picture you can kind of see right here. If I can get my finger in, there we go, right here. Our son is 10 years old and he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. And at that time, we took him to a chiropractor after we also implemented therapies and, all those traditional things. But my husband and I have always been of the belief that there's usually some internal factor that at least affects, not necessarily causes, but affects a lot of the symptoms. And so the chiropractor started testing him with the spit test, actually, and did some stool samples and some urine samples, and he tested positive for Candida yeast. So Candida yeast has been in my life longer than Plexus by several years. I am well versed in what it can do and how to treat it without the ProBio 5. So what I talked about was how excited I am to start him on ProBio 5 and BioCleanse, because the other thing is that I also shared about BioCleanse, which I just forgot to mention, is that when he was a baby, he used to poop, if he was lucky, twice a month. That's it. And when he did poop, it was horrible. Like, he would scream and buck like a wild animal. It was awful. And there was nothing we could do. Like, nothing worked. It didn't matter what medication he was on, didn't matter what we did, he couldn't poop, and he still struggled with constipation as he's gotten older. So I talked about how I couldn't wait to start him on BioCleanse and ProBio 5. So that's something you can do and you should do, because people want to know about you. They don't care about Candace in Milwaukee that they don't know. They don't care about that. They just don't. It's great to see those things on the internet, but they're always going to doubt whether or not the pictures are photoshopped. I don't know about you, but as an ambassador, I wonder if the photos are photoshopped. So how much more is the perspective of your audience going to be when they're not familiar with our products? So think about that. So let's see, record videos. The other thing is, before you do your party, plan giveaways and prizes. I'm going to tell you right now, people want freebies. They want incentives even. So you don't always have to give something away, but think of incentives like the first person to order Plexus Slim Plus Accelerator will get a free water bottle, or $10 off their order, or, something like that. But people want a discount. They go crazy over it. That's what keeps the momentum going. I think I had like 5 or 6 giveaways during the party, and people just were crazy about them. So that's a very good thing that you can do. So plan your prizes and giveaways, but along those lines, before you do your party, get a Word document open, write down what you're planning on giving prizes away for. So, for example, one of our prizes was for the door prize. You are going to write on your Word document, door prize, free 3-day trial, to the first person who responds to the post saying that they're attending. People will jump on that. People will go crazy. People will kind of fight over it. And then people will still respond 2 hours after the party and wonder why they didn't get the door prize. So people like it, so go for it. But keep track of your door prizes. So like if your incentives and giveaways. So like if your next giveaway is, $5 off the next person to order X Factor, write that down in your document. And also plan, so I labeled my videos like launch party video 1, launch party video 2, and so on. On your incentives, write, post 1, post 2, so that you can quickly post your video, go to your Word document, grab that incentive, post it in the comments. Don't post it as a separate status. If you do that, people are going to be really confused. Because it'll fall right to the bottom as soon as you post something new. So don't do that, because it's very confusing and very difficult to follow. Try to keep it as streamlined as possible. Let's see, what else can I say about that? Yeah, label your videos. That's a really good thing. Otherwise, you're not going to have a clue. When you start posting your videos, you're going to be so confused. You're not going to know what to do next. So keep it simple. Don't give them titles like X Factor, BioCleanse, ProBio 5, because when you're pawing through your outline, which is your master outline saying what products you're going to feature and when, you're going to have a hard time kind of finding that video. Just keep it simple. Post number 1, post number 2, or launch party video 1, something like that. Post your launch party, post your business link, post your incentive in the comments below. Keep it simple. Another thing when you're posting your videos, like when I was talking about ProBio 5, people may not see you as the expert. So what's your job? Your job is to pit yourself as the expert. So go ahead and post under that, a video about Dr. Oz, or a website about Dr. Oz talking about leaky gut syndrome and candida yeast, or anything like that. Post on your Plexus Slim post Dr. Oz talking about Garcinia cambogia, which is one of our most active ingredients in Plexus Slim. In the accelerator, talk about the 5-HTP. Post a video about it, though, because you're not necessarily the credible source right now, unless you're a doctor or a nurse or something, but most of us aren't. So if you're not authoritative in this field, you can portray yourself as that way by getting supportive, credible videos. So, for those of you who are in college, you know the importance of looking for the credibility in your sources. Don't, for example, go to GarciniaCambogia.com. Why? Well, because that's a biased source. Go to an unbiased source. Okay, so there's a difference there. When you're posting your videos, post one video like every 5 to 8 minutes just to keep the pace going. Because if you wait too long in between your posts, your crowd is just going to kind of dwindle. They're going to get bored. They don't want to wait forever for your post. Don't post one video every 1 minute because then people are going to have a hard time keeping up. That same thing about your recent posts falling to the bottom is going to definitely come back into play. So post, time it out, kind of space it evenly. My launch party was about an hour and a half long. I barely had time to fit. I think I did 7 posts. I barely had time to fit everything in. People were emailing questions during that time. People were posting questions. It was just crazy. It was great. It was awesome. It was so fun, but it was really, really busy. So along that line, I would say, see if your upline would be willing to be online during that time to field some questions for you. My upline donated a bottle of X Factor as a giveaway and a 3-day trial. And that was awesome. That was so supportive. I loved it. She also answered questions. She kind of kept the crowd going while I was gathering my information, and that was just great. So definitely do that. The other thing I would say is if you have begun to start to build a team and you decide to do an online party, or if you're doing an in-person party, invite your downline and ask them to invite, their downline or their friends who haven't yet signed up. And the reason for this is because it can be training for your downline. It can be training for their downline about your products, about your services, about the business opportunity, or whatever it is that you decide to touch on. And it makes your teammates feel so much more supported and cared about. So that's a really good thing. But while you do that, make it clear to your downline. Like I had, one of my downlines, Erica, she came to the online party and she brought several friends to the online party. So the deal that we had between each other was if someone wants to order and they are her guest, they should be told by her, by Erica, to order from her Plexus page, not mine, because they are her guest. So I'm not trying to steal the customers of my downline because you see, growing my downline, growing their sales, growing her downline is beneficial for me anyway. So it's not wise for me to go and try to take her customers from her, but you want to support your downline. And the effect that has had is a huge level of trust. Now, Erica and I have been friends for a very, very long time. We've known each other since high school. She watches my kids. She's awesome. I just love her to pieces. But, I think she trusts me more because she knows I'm not trying to pull one over on her, and I'm not trying it's not pyramid scheming. You know what I mean? Like, it's not me trying to get all the glory for all the work that she might decide to do or choose to do in the future. It's us working together because we're a team. So that's one thing. And the final thing that I would leave you with, because I honestly can't think of everything else that I've done, but I think that's a good start. Follow up with your guests the next day. Why? Well, most people are going to forget about 90 to 100% of everything that you said because you're going to be giving them information. Most of the feedback that I got from people was along the lines of, wow, I learned so much. Thank you so much. I got nothing but positive feedback from everybody that attended my party. And I have to tell you, I only had about, I think it was 18, something like 17 or 18 people that RSVP'd online to come to my online event. I had like 34 people actually show up online. So more people are watching than you think. And the other cool thing about an online Facebook video is when you have an event and you're posting your videos in the event, it's not just the people who RSVP'd to the event that are seeing your post. It's also people in your personal Facebook newsfeed. It's showing up as a post in your newsfeed. Make sure that you do that event as a public event, not just as an invite only. That's what I did at first, and that was okay. But when I opened it up to the public, it was a little bit more successful. So that's another recommendation I would make. I will tell you that since the online party, I sold all 10 of my 3-day trials within a week. So I made back my money from my welcome pack just about on that one thing alone. I did get a preferred customer, or maybe actually two or three. I don't know. Anyway, I got a few preferred customers. And I have others who are waiting for their 3-day trial first because, my upline, like I said, she donated one. They're waiting for that to come in the mail before they order. But my downline, Erica, has received an order since that as well. So it's helped all of us. So those are my tips. And if you have questions, feel free to friend me on Facebook and send me a message if you'd like to. And I hope that helps you. Thank you.